Guys, welcome back to another little mini reaction video. Welcome back to another little chit chat video. So, before we go ahead and get into tonight's topic, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Excuse me. For those of you who are already subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. We do appreciate you guys. Shout out to all our Purple Heart members. We definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you for always showing up and showing love. You guys will see this video once it re-uploads to YouTube if you don't have didn't have a chance to catch the live. Okay, guys, so it is Friday. I am super tired, right? I'm so tired. But I wanted to come on and do this little mini reaction because we came home. I started watching news. I think it was CNN, and it was one of my favorite reporters. I don't remember her name, but she's talking about the breaking news. And if you don't know what that is, I guess I'll go ahead and share it with you guys. So apparently, Steve Hegseth just announced that the United States has entered into a military partnership with the country of Qatar. And they're going to be building a Qatari airspace um, where there's a already existing U.S. military base. So they're going to be building this air base, and it's going to house these Qatari fighter jets, and they're going to be training their fighters there, their pilots and so forth at the base. So suffice to say, MAGA has like literally erupted. Like Laura Loomer has like left the planet. Like she has been tweeting nonstop, multiple tweets. Everyone's going crazy. They're calling it a betrayal. They don't understand why they're allowing a foreign country to have a military base on American soil, and it's adding fuel to the fire because it is a Muslim country. So why are we training more Muslims? Those are Laura Loomer's words, not mine. um, so what I'm gonna be expressing in this video, these are my personal opinions, based on my observation and my um train of thoughts. It's just my opinion. It's not endorsed by anyone. I'm just expressing my opinion based on my observation. Okay, so yes, like I said, Laura Loomer and a lot of the hardcore MAGA base completely losing it because why are we building this foreign air base on American soil, and why is it like a Muslim country? Why are we doing this, right? And I just wanted to kind of tap into that. So we know that on the surface, most people probably only heard of the whole thing with Qatar only when their airbase got, I mean, their city got bombed by Israel when they were hosting the Hamas peace talks. That's probably the only time they've heard of it. But the relationship with Trump and the Qataris go way back. Like they are in business relationship, they're business partners, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. Trump's son in law and his son actually was just over there announcing they're building a golf course and resort and all that stuff. So they're deep in the money over there, millions, billions of dollars. Then you have the son in law who, with his ties and all of that, the fundraising billions of dollars. So these people go way, way back. Most people should have thought it was suspicious when their city was bombed, and the reaction was not, it was like outrage, but it was just like, because we have to be outraged, but it wasn't like, how dare you bomb us, blah blah blah. It wasn't none of that, because they already had all these deals in the works, right? When Trump went over there, he got the $400 million jet. That should have been another red flag, right? Like who does that? So there's a lot of stuff going on that people in the MAGA base just wouldn't understand. And I'm just gonna break it down a little bit, right? Um, there is a word, it's called elitists. These are groups of people who have unlimited access to wealth, and they keep a very small circle. You cannot get in, right? This would explain why people like Steve Bannon and Laura Loomer and all these people that would be considered on the fringe years ago, they just wouldn't understand this, what's happening here, right? Because they would never be allowed to be in those rooms. They just would not be allowed into those rooms, into those spaces. They would never meet members of the Qatari royal family or Saudi royal family. They would never get to discuss business, or because they just are not on that level. These are people who their beliefs and ideologies transcend normal everyday people, right? This is where money talks. That's the only language. It's just money. It's not about politics, ideology, culture wars, all that other stuff. It's just hard cash, right? And of that, Qatar has a lot of. So of course, Trump is gonna, he's a businessman. That's what he does, right? He follows the money. And that's why I always say, if you want to know what's really going on in this type of politics, you got to follow the money, right? Um, Trump is not running for re-election, right? This is just, it's not happening. That's not what's happening. So his family over the course of the presidency has made millions of dollars in deals and endorsements and all this other stuff, businesses, and all this stuff is happening. They're raking in a lot of money off this presidency. That's just not a rumor, it's a given. They put out studies and whatever about it. You guys can look it up, right? They're getting rich. And when he leaves office, his children are going to be billionaires. That is the trajectory they're on. Millions and billions of dollars, right? I'm using some of his phrasing. He likes to say millions and millions. Well, literally, this is now literally millions of dollars. And this deal was in the works along with the whole Hamas peace thing. This is the reward for getting him that peace deal. It's just plain and simple. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? You help me politically, we'll see what we can do. And they did it. They brokered the peace deal. He couldn't have done it without the Qataris. I think everybody knows that. But at least he was able to get them to the table and get it done. Credit where credit is due, sure. But they have been central in all of these peace talks, right? And, this is your reward. You get to build a base, we get all the money. It's a win win. And Steve Bannon and them are frothing at the mouth, but they got bamboozled by the billionaires. These people don't have the same ideology. Their ideology is money. Your ideology is all this anti this and anti that and anti. They're only with that stuff when it's convenient for them. So they basically used, I try so hard not to, like, I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be insultive to anyone, but I'm just the facts the way I see it, right? um they use the situation, the ideology, the feelings, the whole thing, from George Floyd and all the BLM stuff and all the anti this and the immigration stuff. They used all of that stuff to stoke all of that hate and got everybody frothing at the mouth for the race war and the culture war and deport the immigrants and get rid of this and do that. And it was cool for a time because it kept the base distracted, while behind the scenes the pen has been flying, executive order after executive order, signing all type of deals and contracts and all type of stuff, right? Securing the bag, as we like to say. So that's happening, and now it's coming to bear fruit, right? It's literally on the news. This didn't just happen overnight. You don't just, oh my God, breaking news, we're gonna let them build an air base in Idaho. That's not a thing. This has been in the works for months and months, right? Um, so I just thought it was important to speak on that, because I don't think people understand that these people are elitists. The Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, the Donald Trump, the all these people, they move in a different realm. They're not down here with people that wouldn't even be able to enter the White House just 2, 3, 4 years ago. You couldn't even come on the property. They were considered far white. I said far white. Excuse me, far right extremists. You will catch them at an anti this rally or, secret clandestine meetings and all this other stuff. But never would these people be running anything in the government, right? They wouldn't even get in the front door. But Donald Trump saw an opportunity in them to use them to his, for his end, for his needs. And he did that. He put a lot of them in these, these positions, created these positions for a lot of them and all that stuff, knowing that in 4 years, the jig is up. Like when the Democrats win the next election, which they will, unless, civil war and all of that ensues, um this all this stuff is going to come crumbling down. Like all these people are going to get fired and people will be brought up on charges. Some people severely abuse the authority given to them by the offices they're serving in. So all that stuff is going to come to bear, right? That's what happens in a democracy. You get your turn, then we get our turn, we go, election, and then you're out of there. So that's going to happen. But you know what's not going to be out of there? All that money that Trump and them made. They're just going to be off into the sunset with all that money, bags fat, full of cash. And yeah, you got bamboozled. They were never gonna they were never gonna do any of the things that the core MAGA people want them to do. Sure, deport a couple of immigrants. He don't like them anyway. It was nothing for him to do that. Do the whole race war thing. Sure, why not? That's easy to do. Again, it's easy to do. So distract them and do all this stuff while you're over here signing the deals, getting the jets, building the airspace. Just doing what they do. And now everybody's mad and upset. You should have known this stuff. This guy is a businessman. All they care about is money. There you have it. So let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. Do you feel like the whole MAGA movement got hoodwinked by the master scammer? Or do you think that it's no big deal? You dibble and dabble. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys so much. For those of you who made it here, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your time. Stay up and stay blessed, and we will catch up with you guys in another video. Deuces.